Featherstone remarked, "Leaders tell, but never teach until they practice what they preach." That is the law of the picture. Little box. Leaders tell, but never teach until they practice what they preach. Featherstone. Number 3. We should work on changing ourselves before trying to improve others. Leaders are responsible for the performance of their people. The buck stops with them. They accordingly monitor their people's progress, give them direction, and hold them accountable. And to improve the performance of the team, leaders must act as change agents. However, a great danger to good leadership is a temptation to try to change others without first making changes themselves, changes to yourself. As a leader, the first person I need to lead is me. The first person that I should try to change is me. My standards of excellence should be higher for myself than those I set for others. To remain a credible leader, I must always work first, hardest, and longest on changing myself. This is neither easy nor natural, but it is essential. In all honesty, I am a lot like Lucy in the Peanuts comic strip, who tells Charlie Brown that she wants to change the world, when an overwhelmed Charlie Brown asks where she would start. Her response is, "I would start with you, Charlie Brown." I would start with you. Not long ago, I was teaching on the idea of the 360-degree leader. That is, a leader exerts his influence not just down with those he leads, but also up with his boss and across with his colleagues. During a question and answer session, an attendee asked, "Which is the most difficult, leading up, across, or down?" "None of the above," I answered. Quickly, leading myself is the toughest. To lead any way other than by example, we send a fuzzy picture of leadership to others. If we work on improving ourselves first and make that our primary mission, then others are more likely to follow. Number 4, the most valuable gift a leader can give is being a good example. A survey conducted by Opinion Research Corporation for Echelon Finance asked American workers to select the one trait that was most important for a person to lead them. Here are the results. Rank 1. Characteristic, leading by example. Percentage, 26%. 2. Strong ethics or morals, 19%. 3. Knowledge of the business, 17%. 4. Fairness, 14%. 5. Overall intelligence and competence, 13%. 6. Recognition of employees, 10%. More than anything else, employees want leaders whose beliefs and actions line up. They want good models who lead from the front. Leadership is more caught than taught. How does one catch leadership? By watching good leaders in action. The majority of leaders emerge because of the impact made on them by established leaders who modeled leadership and mentored them. When I think about my leadership journey, I feel that I have been fortunate to have had excellent leadership models from whom I caught various aspects of leadership. I caught perseverance by watching my father face and overcome adversity. I caught intensity by observing Bill Hybels' passionate leadership. I caught encouragement by looking at how Ken Blanchard valued people. I caught vision by seeing Bill Bright make his vision become reality. I continue to learn from good models, and I strive to set the right example for the people who follow me, my children and grandchildren, the employees in my companies, and the people who attend my conferences and read my books. Living what I teach is the most important thing I can do as a leader. Is the most important thing I do as a leader. As Nobel Peace Prize winner Albert Schweitzer observed, example is leadership. Following their leader's example. A story that illustrates the law of the picture is that of King David of ancient Israel. Just about everyone has heard the story of David and Goliath. When the armies of the Philistines faced off against King Saul and the people of Israel, Goliath, a large, powerful, professional warrior, laid out a challenge. He said he'd fight Israel's greatest champion in a winner-take-all battle. And who stepped forward to accept the challenge? Not Saul, the mighty king, or any of his seasoned veterans. It was David, a lowly shepherd boy, who stood to face him. Using a sling, he hurled a rock at Goliath and knocked him out. Then he cut Goliath's head off. with the warrior's own sword. We all identify with the story like that because we like to cheer for the underdog, but many people don't know the rest of the story. David grew up to be a warrior and eventually became king. Along the way, he raised up a group of warriors who were called his mighty men. No fewer than 5 of them also became giant killers, just like their leader. The example set by David taught his followers how to become great warriors and even giant killers. Leadership in the face of terror. Leadership by example always has a powerful impact on followers. One of the leaders I admire is Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York City. During his career, first as an attorney working for the U.S. government and then later as an elected official, Giuliani led by example. He says in his book, Leadership, that he is very aware that what he does sets the tone for those who follow him. You cannot ask those who work for you to do something you're unwilling to do yourself. He states, it is up to you to set a standard of behavior. Central to Giuliani's philosophy of leadership is the idea of accountability. Giuliani writes, more than anyone else, leaders should welcome being held accountable. Nothing builds confidence in a leader more than a willingness to take responsibility for what happens during his watch. One might add that nothing builds a stronger case for holding employees to a high standard than a boss who holds himself to even higher ones. That is true in any organization. Accountability was the basis of one of Giuliani's regular practices. The morning meeting he convened with his top staff every day at 8 o'clock. He had done it since 1981. It put him and his people on the same page every day. They had to give him answers, and he was forced to make quick decisions. Nobody could hide. Everyone was accountable. Many people acknowledged Giuliani's ability as a mayor. Under his watch, crime in the city fell dramatically. New York returned to its former glory as a tourist destination. Taxes decreased and business thrived. But the event that really revealed Giuliani's leadership ability was, of course, 9/11, when the unthinkable occurred and the city was in chaos. The mayor was on the front lines, leading, keeping in close contact with the state and federal leaders, and directing the various phases of city government. And when the worst part of the crisis was behind them, Giuliani was also leading by example. Not only was he an advocate of his city, opening the theaters, encouraging people to live their lives as close to normal as possible, and asking visitors to come to New York, but he also grieved with those who had lost loved ones. He estimates that in the wake of the terrorist attacks, there were 6 to 20 funerals every day. He made sure to attend at least 6 every day to be sure that a representative from city government was in attendance at every service. Giuliani's example of leadership, strength, and resilience inspired the nation. In many ways, people all over the United States learned how to conduct themselves. In a post-9/11 world, by watching Rudolph Giuliani modeling, he was not going to let terrorists determine the way he would live. And that's what good leaders always do. They set the example. Giuliani sums up his leadership this way. All my life, I have been thinking about how to be a leader. Whether it was when I was running the corruption unit of the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, then the narcotics unit, or turning around a bankrupt Kentucky coal company after being appointed as receiver, or watching Ronald Reagan, Judge McMahon, and others. I realized later that much of what I was doing in studying these people so closely was preparing. Unconsciously, I was learning how to run things. In other words, he has simply done what he had seen his leaders do throughout his career. He has practiced the law of the picture. Applying the law of the picture to your life. If you are already practicing the law of process, then you are currently working to sharpen your skills to increase your leadership ability. If you're not, get started. But there is more leadership than just technical skills. Character is also vital to leadership, and that is communicated through the law of the picture. The primary example you set for your followers comes in the area of character, and that is the area you need to address first before trying to change others. Give yourself a character audit. First, make a list of your core values, such as integrity, hard work, honesty, and so on. Then think about your actions of the last month. What incidents, if any, stand out as inconsistent with those values? List as many things as you can recall. Don't dismiss anything too quickly, and don't rationalize any of them. These items will show you where you need to work on yourself. Work on changing not only your actions, but also your attitude. Number 2, ask a trusted colleague or a friend to watch you for an extended period of time, at least a week, to compare what you teach with how you conduct yourself. Ask him or her to record any inconsistencies, then plan to meet at the end of the observation period to review the results. At that meeting, you may ask questions for clarification, but you're not allowed to defend yourself. Plan to change either your actions or your philosophy to make them consistent with one another. Number 3, what are the 3 to 5 things you wish your people did better than they currently do now? List them. Now grade your performance for each. You may want to ask someone else to grade you as well to make sure your perception of yourself is accurate. If your self-scores are low, then you need to change your behavior. If your scores are high, then you need to make your example more visible to your people. Adjust accordingly.